News on the Empire fills with power. And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For all of us at CBS News all around the world.
Well, here we are, Thursday night Algebra Tutorials, and I've got my question and answer session set up, and waiting for people to join. Most of the algebra classes at NC9 this week have been learning about inequalities, and we'll cover some of those inequalities and the vocabulary. So we'll get started here in a minute, see if anybody will join us, and we'll get going here.
Take them on a ride of a lifetime. When children refused, they said the truck went to another bus stop, did the same thing there. Police say they may have been driving.
All right, maybe you can see our old blind dog in the background there. And we're just waiting on people to come on board here. All right. Yep, there's my son in the background. Say hi, Jacob.
What's up?
Yep, he's my chef. So, and he can do all the math I'm doing, at least on here tonight. All right, so while we're waiting, let's go ahead and cover some of the basic things. I'm going to do a screen share. And let's see, we're going to go to the blank Word document. And here we are. All right, so we've been learning about inequalities. And we've got less than or equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to. And some of the things we've been learning are some alternate words. Of course, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to are fairly familiar. But we have terms such as at least, at most. One that we came up to this week, it was not on our list, but we can look at under. When you see these words, a lot of times, if you think about money in my pocket, and so if I think about I have at least $6 in my pocket. All right, so now I can ask my question. Do I have $5 in my pocket? Well, at least would tell me that the minimum I could have is $6. I could have $10, or I could have, boy, it'd be nice, I could have $150 in my pocket, because 150 is at least 6. So what we see here is that at least, if I have this money in my pocket idea going, at least tells me that I have greater than or equal to, because I could say I just have $6. If I have at least $6, then $6 could be the total amount, or it could be the 150, it could be even more than that. If I do the same thing and I say I have at most $6 in my pocket, then, you know, could I have $6? Yes, it could be equal to $6. So I can put my little equal sign. Could I have 7? Well, not if it's at most, but I could have 5. So that tells me it's less than. All right. So that's, oh, let's look at under. That one was kind of, it was on one of our assignments we did in class. And I don't know what the sentence was, but let's say I have under $20 to spend. So under, what symbol would represent that? Well, is that greater than? No. Is it equal to? No, if it's only under $20. So under could be, if I had 10, that is less than, and it is under $20. So when it comes to the vocabulary, I like to use that idea of money in my pocket. So, and I'm going to jump now back to the video, see if anybody has joined us yet. And here we are, and we have 0 viewers at the moment. So we'll go on with some more things. There are a couple of things that we learned about when we use our calculators to work with inequalities. And let me go back to my screen share here. And there were, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. Doing my question and answer. There we go. Screen share. Screen share, back to this. Go back to our Microsoft Word and hit share. All right. So there are a couple of things. If we have something simple like 2x is less than or equal to 12. Well, if we see that we have our variable and it's on the left side and it's positive, it has a positive coefficient, then we could just put this into our, if you're using a calculator, we could put like a TI. This would be our Y1, and then we could put this into the Y2, and then look at our table, and we would see the table would come up, and let's see if we were doing 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. The Y1 would be here, Y2 would be here, and let me see if I could just recreate the table using my head rather than the actual calculator. So that would be 6, 8, 10, 12, and we would look and we would see that there's this point here where Y1 and Y2 are the same. And so that tells me that X right here would be this. All right. So I know that my answer is X is less than or equal to, and it's this one here, 6. Now, I could have done this longhand. I could have divided both sides by 2. And frankly, for me, that would be a little faster. But as things get more complex, sometimes using a calculator will speed things up. But there are some things that we need to look out for. Let's say, for example, let's go ahead and put in a new page. So let's say we have something that negative 3x is greater than 21. Well, this negative should send off a warning sign to me, because, now let me show you longhand if I did this. If you ever divide or multiply by a negative, and in this case we would divide by -3, then what ends up happening is whenever you do that, multiply or divide by a negative, this is the one big deal, your inequality sign is reversed. So X in this case would be less than -7. So if I'm putting this into the calculator, and you know, I'm going to rewrite it here, then what I do is I say, oh, look, I've got a negative coefficient of my X, So what I need to do is I need to go ahead, come down here, and go ahead and drop my sign. And then when I looked at my table, and it would say something like X, Y1, Y2, and that's -8, -7, -6. Over here would be 21, 21, 21. And, oh, I'm sorry, that should have been in 21, 21, 21. -8 times -3 would be 24. -7 times -3 is 21. And this would be 18. So we would see here, these are the same. So my answer to X is this. So I would come down here. Let me rewrite this right here. I had this written. So I would go ahead. X is less than -7. So let me go back and check here. I'm going to stop sharing. Come back to the screen share. I have 0 viewers at the moment. So we'll just give it another minute or so and see if anybody joins us. And if we don't have any joiners, we'll go ahead and call it a night. And we have a special spooktorial. If you somehow watch this, just know that something special will happen. And if you are a viewer, there will be a prize for being a viewer and participant. So if you'll do that, jump on there and visit with us next week on Thursday at 6 p.m. for our special spooktorials, algebra spooktorials. As if algebra is not spooky enough already, huh? All right. Well, let's see. What else can we do? Oh, we're talking about graphs. And let's just go ahead and look at a graph real quick. And let's share this screen. Wow, it's kind of scary. Let's insert a couple of lines so that we can make our X and Y axis. Oh, I want a much better line than that. Let me see if I can make that darker for us. Oh. All right. So let's make that darker. There we go. I think that'll work good. And now let's do another one like that for our y-axis. Oh. All right, and let's make that darker. There we go. All right. So what we're looking at when we are doing domain and range, a couple of things. Let's go over domain, and we'll do this. Domain, that's X values. And range, oh goodness, that would be Y values. All right, so let's I'm going to go ahead and put an endpoint there, and then I'll put an endpoint here. And so what we've been learning about is, let's see, how do you tell the domain and range on something like this? So as a review, if your endpoint is solid, then it will be a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to. If it is open, then it is a less than or a greater than symbol. So what we need to do is we need to find what are the x values. If we looked at this graph that we've drawn and we wanted to figure out our x values. So it starts right here and it comes down, and I like to draw the whole box like this. But really what I'm looking at is what is this point, what is the x value right here. And then if I go up from here, I think that'll be good. This is a solid. So what we're looking at are x values that go from that point to this point here. And it's going to require a little counting, but let me go ahead and count. So this would be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9. So this would be x. The x is in the highlighted areas. -9 is the least. And then as I go to the other side, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 10, but notice this is a filled in dot, which means it can include 10. So what this tells me, my domain are x values that are greater than -9, but less than or equal to 10. So if we looked at anywhere on this graph and we found the x value, it would be somewhere in this highlighted area, which is greater than -9 on this side. So I'll go ahead and put that as -9, and less than 10. And for range, let's use a different color. Let's see if green will show up good. For range, we're going to look at our y values. And since we know that there are values, it has a maximum value and a minimum value, I can go ahead and just put in my symbols and we'll fill in if it needs an equal sign on it. So on this one, I would come over this way and see where it crosses. It crosses right here. And so I would put an open circle because it originates at the open terminal. So I'm going to just right there put my open terminal. And then this one goes all the way across. And this is a closed terminal. So what we have here is we have y values that are on this green part, the highlighted area, and the lowest green on the y-axis, and this is the y-axis. So I would start at 0. That's -1, -2, -3, -4, and -4 goes right there. And since it has the closed, it means it includes that number. The closed terminal gives us the equal sign at the bottom. And then we find this greatest value on the y-axis. I'd start at 0 right here in the center where they cross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And so the 11 would go right here. And so the range are y values greater than or equal to -4 and less than 11. So at any point, and let me just highlight our graph here. At any point on this purple graph, ooh, well, I did some funky stuff. At any point on that graph, we would find x values between -9 and 10, and we would find y values between -4 and 11. And hopefully that cleared some things up for you. So let's come back, see if anybody has joined us. And I'm not seeing any viewers at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down for tonight. Hopefully this helped out a little bit for you. And hopefully we'll see you next Thursday. And you can always watch this on YouTube after the video finishes. So you have a great evening, and we'll see you in school, and be cool.